Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, so again, we are talking or hinging on to this said God, Mother Eve, the waters, the Kundalini, the snake, the serpent, um, the third eye, the pineal gland, Christ, the Christ spirit. Of course, all these we are going by those that have the numerical value of 5, and of course remembering we are 5. The word apple too is 5, just comes to mind because that's why it is said that Eve ate of the apple. Of course, we don't see the word apple in the Bible, but it seemed like everything else we have just learned it and it has become part of our makeup. And so just of course, since I'm talking about the number 5, before I move on, if you're joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. So this is where we merge with our experiences and our insights with the scriptures of the Holy Bible of King James Version. And I am Crimey Queen, of course. So going back to the number 5, I just felt that I needed to explore a little bit more about Mother Eve. And my quest really is to get us to reacquaint ourselves with the womb where we have come from, or the uterus. That's another word that actually equals Mother 5. Mother, Mother Eve, number 5. Okay, well, it is Mother 5. Yeah. It seemed like there is no accident right now, no slip of the tongue. It's just ease. Okay. Yes, so it's feeling that we have gone away and drifted so far from Mother Eve, and now Mother Eve beckons us home and calls us to this place of oneness, the place of harmony, the place of, oh, speaking of harmony, I had a very wonderful experience today. So, of course, it's all in flow with what I am saying. I have been doing a ritual of 9 candles, those tea light candles, and I have been writing on them, of course, or imprinting or on each candle the word harmony. I had been doing this. I'm believing it is safe to say so, Mother Eve, yes, because it's something, because I'm still continuing the ritual, why I'm mentioning about safe to say so. So I have been doing this ritual with 9 tea light candles and writing the word harmony on it. And of course, while I was doing this, just because I wanted to do this for my family. So it's around getting my family, wanting to see my family in a more harmonious way, because it's a large family, and I just did that again instinctively, like I do most things. And when I was doing this, of course, being limited with how much I could really write on there, I thought I'd just do a symbol. And of course, I asked Mother Eve, so which of the numbers should I use to really get the highest vibration for what I'm really wanting to do, to birth a newness of harmony? And the answer, of course, and I said, would it be 9? Of course, 9 had just surfaced in my mind, and Mother Eve, yes, it would be 9. So I had been doing 9. And I have done this ritual. I'm not quite sure how many days now, but it is about 6. It's about 6 days, and I hadn't really checked exactly how many days. But this morning, I did the numerical value for the word harmony, and in my mind, I hadn't double checked. but I believe that it equals 9. And I felt really wonderful about this. So I'm now really writing this. I may have done this in the past, in the past, and I mean quite a while, because these are words that I like, and I'm believing I would have perhaps done this, and it, again, maybe the meaning had been, or the numerical value had been in my brain somewhere as well. But however, I just thought, isn't that really wonderful that I would be guided to do number 9, and the word harmony is actually 9. So that was my thought. So let's see what it is here. So this is 10, this is 20, and this would be 32, 30, 32, yes, that's correct. And 8 would be 40. So 32. So it's not an 8, is actually 40. Now I don't know how I got 9 from, but that's what I counted in my mind at the time. So I'm just going to double check. Yes, this is correct here. This is correct here. So this is 10, 10, 20, and that would be 30, 20 plus 12 is 32, so that's correct, and 8, so it's 40. Now if I really wanted to, of course, because that's how I have got to understand the numbers, we know that 4 now is also 8. So there, in actual fact, I'm still comforted in the way of saying that 40, of course, and I like the idea now I'm doing this exercise, because 40, remember that magical things happened in the scriptures when Christ, of course, fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Myself, when I did my fasting, my ritual for 40 days, of course, magical things happened to me on the 13th or 14th. I think it was on the 14th day, but I'm on the 14th day. Initially I thought it was the 13th, but it's the 14th day. So again, we see, of course, 14 is 1/5 plus 4 would be 9. So that's why I birthed quite a wonderful list of life, I would say. So again, checking on here. So number 40, we see, of course, with the story of Moses, with the children of Israel. We're talking biblical stories here. So that again is very symbolic here. Now I just had this notion to do the numerical value of the word 40 and see what happens. FOURTY. So there we have 7, 2, 9, 3, 6, 6. And there in the word 40, I love the word 40 because it offers that 369 that we have on the sacrifice template, which is the numbers that Nikola Tesla speaks of as well. Okay, so there we have 9, of course, TY is 27, so 9, so 3 9s 27. Let's put it this way: 999, 27 plus 6, that would be 13 here, that's 33. Wow. Now it's really amazing. It's really amazing. Now this has given us a deeper insight to the significance of that Christ died at the age of 33. Now, I watched a bit of an interview about the Passion of Christ on Mel Gibson's movie, and he speaks of himself as a believer. That's another thing that, so the word believer, I am a believer, he said. And the word believe, of course, as I think I might have done this before, is 33. believe, Believe, which has Mother Eve. I won't pass on this to point it out that at the end of the word believe is Mother Eve. Okay, so which is 14, and of course that's 5. Now we have 3, 9, 5, 2. Okay, let's add this up. So this is 17, 18, 19. 19 is actually 1, because 1 plus 9 is 10, and 1 plus 5 here is 6. So but if we did, let's see, we wanted to see if we could get the whole word to show that it is 33. That was my intention. So here we are saying it is 17 plus 14. That would be, let's see, that's 14, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's 19. 17 and 2 is 19. So let's do this 19 here. So this is 12, 3, that's 33. So the word believe we see is 33. These exercises are really meant to show us, to remind us that this is really a numerical construct. The Bible, the scriptures, those things that we have been programmed by or with are numbers. We are talking numbers. This is why Christ said, if you believe, there was really a thing about believe with Christ. So we see about 33 here with the word believe. Ye that believe. The word ye as well would be 3, which is Y is 7, and E, which is usually used in the King James Bible. And it's not if you believe. In fact, so let's just do this. It's really 7 plus 5, which is 12. And of course, 12 is really 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. We have seen the magic of 3 as well. So it's understanding. We need to really get an understanding of the symbols, that all these letters are really symbols. They are symbols that really give meaning, and we have got a little bit twisted, thinking that, for instance, 1 is just 1 and it's not really 7. So basically everything has a cycle. Those things have been deconstructed to really help us make sense of our world. So the number 1, for instance, when we write the number 1, like it is 1, we see 1, but 1 is actually 7, or 1 is also 10. So basically, when we do write the numerical value in letter form for 1, the word 1, we see it's 655, and adding these together is 16, gives us 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. So basically we could say 1 is 16. So there are cycles of 16 as well. That would be 1. So so where we are talking about cycles of 16, there we are faced with 2 sets of 8. 8 and 8 is 16. So that in itself gives us, like it were the polarities. It is the 2 sides of the whole. So 16 in this sense is really a cycle of 7. And these are things that are important for us to understand, to make sense of our world. Now, so going back to what we have just discovered here, which is 33. So I would not have thought that 33 had any business with number 40. I would not have thought so at all. Hence, we see that it is important for us to really familiarize ourselves, just like it will the times table, like it were the times table, for us to understand the makeup of the numbers and letters, the vibrations that they carry. I am really embracing this wonderful discovery here. So the word harmony, which I thought was 9, now I thought, okay, I'm just going along with spirit now. It has turned out to be 40. And again, the word, we've done 40, and we see that it gives us 33. 33. So talking about Mel Gibson, of course, the person who acted, I don't didn't take his name, who acted, well, I took his name as in the, in listening to, I didn't listen to the all of the video. It's just a part of it, because he was more or less preaching about Jesus Christ, and he of course is a believer, and he has taken on the persona of the role of Jesus Christ, because his name is also either, it's his initials is either JC or CJ, meaning Jesus Christ. And he was saying, of course, giving the testimony how he came to playing the role for the movie The Passion of Christ. And at the time as well, he was also at the age of 33. Now, that is really, of course, is it by chance? This is the question he's asking as well. So how amazing that story sounded too. But this story, of course, as the Passion of Christ, and the Passion of Christ as a movie, has been, of course, has been another instrument to really worm ourselves more into believing that Christ, Jesus Christ, as a person was real. And in meditation with Mother Eve, the story has served to really tie our minds, or imprison our minds even more in that belief that Christ was a person, as the movie itself had really depicted, had really shown. So we can see how we play out, or we act out those roles that for whatever reason we act them out. They have become part of our persona, part of our DNA. And another thing, talking about DNA, that just reminds me again of the findings of scientists, or neuroplasticity, that really shows that we can actually reprogram ourselves. So the Bible, that of the teachings of the Bible that we have been given, has been one that has been we have been programmed by. Now Mother Eve has told me some things in the Bible is true, like for instance, Abraham having had 12 sons. That is a true account of a factual account. And Solomon too, which I thought was not true, but Mother Eve has confirmed, yes, the story of Solomon is correct. And did he have as many wives? It is correct that he had as many wives and concubines. However, if we explore the story of Solomon, he also operated his kingdom on numbers. He was about numbers. He was a wise man, and he knew the mathematical construct of the world that existed and that which he wanted to create. So there we are going again by looking at the numerical values of the force that has created us, or instruments that we use to create in our world. And so there are lots of information here for us to really pay attention to. So here, this man, CJ or JC, the Christ in the spirit, or the Jesus Christ in the story of the Passion of Christ, he was at the age of 33 when he was approached. Now, what I do know for sure is that there are so many societies, I know because I have been approached in some sense as well. I have been approached that they would have they would have the collection, or to put it, the resource of all these the right people, or the right data, the data. Now people who are in the industry, of course, they have those, they are open to all these information as well. So nothing is by chance, nothing at all is by chance. And everything we see that there are people, when I for instance, when I looked up a word, I think it was the word, I was looking for a word, or I googled a word, but I came across the Althurium legend. And it was in that search I discovered there are people working in Cambridge University who would be studying a certain amount of words for 14 years. For 14 years, those words would be used, and they would study those words for 14 years, and to see whatever outcome that was going to that would derive from that. But of course they had conditions for those, so they would be used in certain conditions, so that it gave me, I think it was 14 or 14 years, that gave me the insight that likewise, there were people studying or having a certain search, or words or construct, that they would project their findings for the next 100 years. So people are planning for the next 100 years. So all these findings for each 14 years, for instance, those 14 years that had passed, how many 14 years that had passed, would be now taken or reconsidered or into another pool to have another search, and so on. And that is to say that there are people who are really planning years ahead, really planning years ahead of, and the Bible itself, this was another thing that I discovered, that the Bible too is exactly the same. It is exactly the same, because every time I read about Christ, or the coming of Christ, or the Messiah, or when he was born, it would be said, it would be said that this the kings, for instance, would have got, they went to Bethlehem to see, or to fulfill, this was another word often used, to fulfill, that act would be done to fulfill the word that had been written, to fulfill the message that had been written. So people were actually playing out the role, consciously playing out the role to fulfill something that had been said or had been written. And usually, of course, we see that when it is written, it is so. So, of course, the word so is equals 7, meaning that is it. It has been cut out as such. It has been saw, which is one of the gods. So what the god saw, SAW, is actually the one probably saying the word so. SO is really 1 plus 6. Of course, that again equals, I'm talking about 16. That equals 7. And the word saw, the god of saw, is actually 511. Of course, this together is 7. So this is what we are talking about. People are making I like these synchronicities, and everything is flow, and it's not to dispute at all the story of CJ or JC, which I don't, so do forgive me if you if he ever comes across. Just playing safe here now with his name, because he made reference to his initial, and he says what's the chance of that his initial would be AJAC, so JC, and he was 33 years of age. I remember, for instance, there's another thing that I also remember, that when in St. Lucia, that you would have a name that you wanted to name your child, but you would you go to have your child christened. You may be allowed to, because the priest was the one of authority who had the last word of what you would name your child. And I know that one of my brothers, for instance, was named after a bishop, or a bishop with a long Italian name, which I won't disclose right now, because he came out looking like a little priest. That's how we termed it at the time, because he was very light and very with a very prominent straight nose, and he just looked like a little white person at the time. And of course he was like a little priest, and the priest who christened him named him after a bishop. And I checked out, not only that, it was just by chance, and not too long ago I googled the name, and that's how I found out it was a bishop. And my brother, of course, was born on the same date of birth, meaning the same date and the same month as that bishop. So we can see that, of course, the recordings of his christened, whatever is, it's there, it is there. And so people know, or whatever gods that governed you at that time of birth, or being christened, or being named. That's why names are so important. So of course JC, which is also 31, and that is another thing that I came across. So say it was JC here, JC. I'm so thankful to get all this information, or see how this correlates, and that also equals the number 13. Now I had not noticed that the word or name Jesus Christ as a initial had coincided with the number 13. Of course, this is where we talk about the bond. I have spoken about this, because when there were 13 at the table, including Jesus Christ, and this is where Jesus said to his disciples, whenever you drink of this wine, it is my blood. And whenever you eat of the bread or break of the bread, it is, so the breaking of the bread, of course, that's the flesh. That's where you feel the pain as well. You break the bread, or whatever it is. You break bread and you eat. Of course, this is what Mother Eve is trying to get us to understand, that there is another side to this story, or this this full significance that can serve us well. So they came into agreement here. This is agreement here, and there's where the bee is formed, the beehive, the bee, the bond, the bread, the buttocks, the breast. All this is the symbol of what gives, which of what nurtures. And of course we have seen the 3 when it is 3. Of course, as I have pointed out, 1 is 7, 1 is 10. We see how the wholeness of that comes. 3 is also 8, in the sense that it forms the 8th petal flower. It has, this is why it is seeking to be recognized. Okay, so I have, now this all came about through through harmony, and I wanted now to even explore harmony a little bit more, since I'm on the subject. So it entails 7. Again, we are talking about 7. Now this is giving us more insight about the word harmony. It's giving us more deliciousness. So there's the word, the HA it begins with. That's where Sarah, in the Bible of Abraham and Sarah, which is a factual story actually, and of course however else it has been flourished but or furnished, but this is the ha, this is the ha, which is the utterance of laughter. Mother Eve had given them, Sarah and her husband, when they were told that they would be with child in their old age. Now I thought too, that's another part of the story that I thought was a myth, that Sarah really did not have a child at the age of 90, and Mother Eve says yes to me that it is true. Now of course I would rather just continue saying okay, it is the mathematical construct, but where in essence that is the thing that has given seed to which to that which people use now to have fictitious um, accounts of other stories. So at 90, of course, this is 9. This is where Sarah birthed newness. Okay, now I'm going to have to check about the change of names as well, but there we see that there was something very important about the name, the change of name from Sarah to Sarah, the AH at the end of Sarah as well. So now I have done several presentations on that, but something has just come to mind because her name was changed to Sarah. And now I am also saying again, or reminding ourselves, this is where the AH at the end here, the ha, because of course she laughed, ha ha ha, or there were 3 ha's, three HA, I think it was 3. 3 times she laughed. 3 times Sarah laughed. So of course, and the word laughed equals laugh equals 22. Of course, that would be 66. Because 22 times 3, 66. And of course, we see that 6, of course, is the number of man. Okay, and there, of course, it was 2 sons that she had as well, because there was Isaac and Ishmael. Okay, but she had another son, I think, after this. Okay, Isaac and Esau and Isaac. Okay, but that's with question mark in case I haven't quoted the correct names here. Okay, or feel free if you have the right information to let me know. Okay, so now we have this HA here. Now we have, I'm always wondering about the money. It's like, this is, it kind of harmony. The word MONY kind of sounds like money as well. So, okay, so we see all the seed of everything is in there. And of course we have 9 there. Okay, so I'm just throwing this about here now. So the word believe, as I say, that has proven crucial in the sense of that it is 33. Now 33 also coincides, of course, and there is 33 on the timer right now. This is it. I have been programmed to say this. Okay, there's 33 on the timer, and now so we also have seen that Christ spoke a lot about belief. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, so we see the significance of 40 right there. We see the significance of the as I said, of course, that is all. 33 is 6 and 6 is Genesis. So Genesis, of course, is that which we are migrating to this to number 9, which is what Mother Eve is telling us. Wow, this is wonderful, Mother Eve. So there we have been in this template of the sacrifice template, we have 3 6s here: 369, 369, 369. When we add these together, that gives us 9. So basically, we are meant to get to master the art of these 3 sets of 9s, and of course 9 is also 6. So when we read about the story of Revelation, this is where it's important again that we get to understand the numbers. So there is a story that has been it's really as if it has been put there as the test of time, or test to really get us understanding. These are hurdles, we could say, that we have to overcome, understanding the significance of our dreams, our visions, our life experiences, and in conjunction with what we have been taught or what other people are teaching us. So about the mark of the beast, that comes up here, of course, in this 666, and how the story has been told. We all know dreams are not exactly or literal, but however, they still have it. It really is there open to interpretation. It's open to interpretation. It is written. There it is. It is written once it is written. But this is, we see from the story of Christ, or Jesus Christ, Jesus, which was fictional, and I'm going to say this, but the Christ is really about the serum that rests at the base of our spine, that which is seeking to be realized, to be activated, and to opening our third eye, to be illuminated, to be able to see that third eye. We have 2 eyes here, and we are asked to activate the third eye. It's everything really. We see the number 3, how it has been crucial for all, as the bedrock, we could say. It is crucial as the bedrock of the numbers of creation. So number 3 is really key as well, although I have been saying, and we have seen Mother Eve, as Eve is 5 and 5 is key, but Mother Eve is key to showing us the construct and meaning of the numbers. So number 3 is really that which coincides with the first letter, which is of 2 strokes. It's like saying it is 2 ones coming together and forming 3. Not 2 ones or 2 here, 2 ones or 3 right here with the letter L. So L equals 3. And how? And of course, we see that 3, when we do the numerical value for the word 3, it equals 2. Now, isn't that delicious? The word 3, which is also the word there, I have done numerical values on this. Let's show you here. So perhaps I should call this 1 and 1 is 3. So L is 2 strokes. It's like the 2 strokes, which is 11 right there. Now the word, this is where Mother Eve said, let there be. The word there, T-H-E-R-E, is actually also the word 3, T-H-R-E-E. When we do the numerical value for this, which is 28955, which is 1029, 2 plus 9 is 11. 2 plus 9 is 11. Now, here we see that 3 is also 2. When we add 1 plus 1 together, we have 2. This is the 2 strokes we are talking about right here. So 1 plus 1 is not 2. 1 plus 1 is 3. Right there, right there. It is here and it is also there. If it is there, it is also here. The word here is actually in there. And I have done lots of things on this. So I hope you have enjoyed this because this is a lot. I know it's a lot of information, but we need to catch up with where we need to be because we are moving into a new dimension. This new dimension is an eighth cycle. This eighth cycle is going to set us up, put it this way, for the next 7 years. Now, what Mother Eve has also disclosed to me is that each 9 years, there is a cycle of 144,000 people who are moving into this fifth dimension. So we are talking about, again, this was all done intuitively, all synchronistically. So we are moving. This is the 9, the word sacrifice. It had been done to distort minds, but everything has its positive and negative. And now we see that it is actually 9 and 5 right here. The five is here. This is the column where again we see where the L is right there. L, I have just done the presentation for on L, which is two strokes. So this is really 3 in essence. We could see how the vibration of 3 is taking us, it's helping us to get into the activating our third eye. This is where we revel into a new state to open our third eye. So now I was talking about number 9 as well, because we have I has a numerical value of 9. So basically every 9 years there is a cycle. There is a cycle of these 144,000, but it's only that we had not come to understand, of course, going by how we had been duped with a lot of these stories. Of course, we had not understood it, but this is how the cycle of time is. So the cycle of time and the cycle of creation. Let's call this a series of cycle of time and creation. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this. Let there be light, and there was light, because we are planting new seeds, so we need the light. Of course, the light, of course, where we plant is in the dark. Okay, all right. So we need both light and dark. Now, Mother Eve is that which is before any event takes place. So that's the Eve we need to be planting new seeds. Namaste. Spill over with love.